Thank you for choosing wisdom of the Dharma. If you found this video insightful, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications, so you never miss a new update. Your support helps us keep sharing powerful, life-changing wisdom with the world. And don't forget to drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Let's grow and learn together. Have you ever wondered why some households seem to radiate warmth, stability, and financial ease, while others, despite hard work, constantly feel like money slips away? The secret, according to both Feng Shui and timeless Buddhist wisdom, often lies not in your office, your bank account, or even your front door, but in the quiet, overlooked space we call the kitchen. In Feng Shui, the kitchen is more than a place to cook meals. It is the very heart of the home, the sacred hearth where fire energy is kept alive. Fire represents life force, abundance, and the capacity to transform raw ingredients into nourishment. In Buddhist thought, too, the kitchen reflects dependent origination. Just as conditions shape outcomes, the condition of your kitchen subtly shapes the flow of your family's fortune, health, and relationships. Think about it, every day, at least 3 times, we enter the kitchen. We reach for rice, boil water, fry vegetables, brew tea. Each act, though ordinary, leaves an imprint. If the space is cluttered, dim, or lifeless, those qualities seep into our mindset. We become impatient, careless, and perhaps financially reckless. But when the kitchen is bright, organized, and infused with gratitude, it becomes a living anchor. It reminds us of sufficiency, steadiness, and the discipline to grow wealth wisely. This video will not be about superstition or grand rituals. Instead, it will be about practical alignment, how to shape your kitchen so that it supports prosperity instead of draining it away. We will explore the 5 elements hidden in your stove, sink, and pantry. We will look at simple, inexpensive items, like a jar of rice, a pinch of salt, or a green plant, that shift the energy of your space. We will dive into daily micro rituals that require no more than a minute, yet can reprogram how you think and act around money. And most importantly, we will see how science and spirituality meet, how Feng Shui principles overlap with psychological effects like anchoring and goal priming. So before we dive in, I invite you to leave one affirmation in the comments. My kitchen is the heart of abundance. Because prosperity starts not with what you own, but with the intention you set. Kitchen equals heart of prosperity. In classical Feng Shui, every home has its heart, and that heart is not the living room where guests gather, it is the kitchen. The kitchen is where fire burns, and fire is the spark of transformation. It turns raw grains into nourishment, cold water into warm tea, simple ingredients into meals that sustain life. Without fire, there is no vitality. Without vitality, there is no wealth. But the meaning goes deeper. In Buddhist teachings, prosperity is not only about accumulating material wealth, it is about having the right conditions to live with ease. This is the principle of dependent origination. Every outcome arises from countless small causes. A kitchen filled with light, order, and gratitude becomes fertile soil for abundance. A kitchen left in neglect, clutter, or darkness becomes a field where scarcity takes root. Psychologists today describe a similar truth. Environments shape behavior. When your kitchen is chaotic, your mind unconsciously absorbs that chaos. You may eat poorly, rush your mornings, or overspend to avoid cooking at home. But when your kitchen radiates warmth and order, it reminds you daily of clarity and sufficiency. The space itself becomes a silent teacher, guiding your actions toward steadiness. In traditional households across Asia, this is why the rice jar was guarded with such reverence. It wasn't just about food, it was about assurance. As long as there is rice in the jar, our family is safe. That mindset, Confidence grounded in simplicity is the real foundation of wealth. Prosperity doesn't begin with a windfall, it begins with knowing you already have enough to grow from. So when we call the kitchen the heart of prosperity, we mean more than just symbolism. We are pointing to a real, observable truth. The way you tend your kitchen is the way you tend your fortune. Brighten it, clean it, honor it, and you will notice not only more energy in your home, but also more clarity in your financial life. The 5 elements in your kitchen. When you walk into a kitchen, you are stepping into the most vivid classroom of Feng Shui. Here, the 5 elements, fire, water, wood, earth, and metal, are not abstract theories. They are present in every stove, sink, cutting board, tile, and utensil. And just as in life, when these forces support one another, prosperity flows. When they clash, tension grows, and wealth can quietly drain away. Fire, the power of the stove. The stove is the embodiment of fire. Fire brings warmth, transformation, and abundance. But balance is key. Too much fire, an overheated kitchen, constant arguments while cooking, can spark impulsive spending and hot tempers. Too little fire, rarely cooking, a dark, unused stove, creates lifelessness, making money feel stagnant. To restore harmony, keep your stove clean, use it regularly, and make sure the space is well lit. Even a single candle or warm lamp can revive fire energy and reawaken prosperity. Water, the flow of resources. Water shows up in your sink, refrigerator, and every jug or bottle. It represents flexibility and the flow of income. When fire, stove, directly opposes water, sink, the clash can translate into financial instability. Money comes in but leaves just as quickly. To ease the tension, avoid placing stove and sink face to face. If unavoidable, introduce a neutral element like wood, perhaps a small wooden chopping board or shelving, to soften the conflict. Balanced water ensures money keeps moving, but without slipping away. Wood, growth and vitality. Wood reveals itself in cutting boards, kitchen cabinets, and especially living plants or fresh herbs. Wood fuels fire, symbolizing growth that supports prosperity. A kitchen without wood feels cold and mechanical, lacking vitality. Add a small green plant, keep a jar of fresh basil, or use natural wooden tools. Even modest touches of wood remind you of life's capacity to grow, encouraging both patience and steady financial progress. Earth, stability and grounding. Earth appears in tiles, ceramics, stone countertops, and clay pots. It grounds the energy of the home, representing stability and trust. Without earth, the kitchen feels unsettled, like standing on shifting sand. Families may experience constant worry about security or finances. You can strengthen earth by incorporating pottery bowls, ceramic plates, or earth tone colors like beige, ochre, or soft yellow. These create a sense of firmness, a reminder that true prosperity rests on a steady foundation. Metal, value and discipline. Metal lives in knives, spoons, stainless steel pots, and symbolic coins. It governs clarity, decision-making, and financial discipline. When metal energy dominates, shiny surfaces everywhere, sharp objects left exposed, the space may feel cold and harsh, breeding tension. Too little metal, however, leads to disorder, lack of structure, weak financial habits. To balance, keep metal tools polished but stored neatly, and consider adding a few symbolic coins in a glass jar to represent healthy circulation of wealth. Metal should remind you that prosperity grows with clarity and order, not chaos. Bringing it all together. The 5 elements are never meant to stand alone. They thrive in relationship. Wood feeds fire, fire creates earth, earth produces metal, metal guides water, and water nourishes wood. When your kitchen reflects this cycle, it becomes more than a cooking space, it becomes a living ecosystem of abundance. The key lesson is simple. Observe your kitchen with new eyes. Ask yourself, does fire burn warmly here? Does water flow gently? Does wood breathe life? Does earth hold steady? And does metal bring order? If all five are present and in balance, then your kitchen is not just feeding your body. It is quietly cultivating prosperity, one meal and one mindful choice at a time. Feng Shui items that attract prosperity in the kitchen. While balance among the five elements creates a solid foundation, certain everyday objects can act like magnets for abundance. These items are not exotic relics or expensive decorations. They are simple, accessible, and deeply symbolic. When placed in the kitchen with mindfulness, they become anchors of energy that quietly shift how prosperity flows in your home. The rice jar with coins. One of the oldest practices is keeping a small glass jar filled with white rice and shiny coins. Each layer tells a story. Rice represents nourishment and sufficiency, coins represent circulation of wealth, and glass represents clarity. When these three combine, they send a message: our family has enough, our money moves freely, and our intentions are transparent. This jar doesn't need to sit on display. It works best in a calm, private corner of the kitchen, where it can quietly remind you of steadiness. Each time you see it, you remember, abundance grows not through fear or hoarding, but through gratitude and flow. Sea salt in a glass container. Salt is one of the oldest purifiers in human history. Across cultures, it was used to ward off negative forces and stabilize environments. In the kitchen, a jar of sea salt plays two roles. It absorbs stagnant energy and anchors the feeling of cleanliness. Practically, it reminds us to season life with moderation, never too bland, never too excessive. Place a small sealed jar of sea salt near the sink or stove, and refresh it every few months. As you replace it, offer a simple thanks, acknowledging that just as salt flavors food, discipline flavors financial stability. A touch of green, small plants or fresh herbs. Wood element brings vitality into the kitchen. A single healthy plant, like money plant, basil, or rosemary, can lift the atmosphere instantly. Unlike artificial decor, living plants grow, reminding us that prosperity too must be nurtured. Choose plants that are easy to maintain and keep them thriving. A wilted or dying plant has the opposite effect, symbolizing stagnation or decline. When you water your plant, see it as a gentle ritual. You are watering not only leaves, but your own capacity for growth and renewal. A full container of clean water. Water represents flow, flexibility, and resources. An empty or neglected water jug signals lack, while a clean, full one symbolizes continuity. In many traditions, flowing water is linked to money streams. But here, the key is not to create artificial fountains, it is to respect the water you already have. Keep a pitcher of clean water ready in your kitchen, refill it daily, and use it intentionally. Each pour can be a reminder: may money flow into my life in ways that are honest, useful, and abundant. Aromatic spices, cinnamon, star anise, licorice. Spices are more than flavor, they are messengers of warmth and prosperity. Cinnamon's heat, star anise's complexity, and licorice's sweetness each evoke richness. Their fragrance transforms the kitchen into a lively, welcoming space. Store them neatly, use them often, and let their aroma spread. As you cook, notice how a pinch of spice uplifts an entire dish. In the same way, a touch of creativity or generosity uplifts financial life. This practice subtly trains the mind to value small additions that create big results. Light, warm lamps or a candle. Finally, never underestimate light. Light is fire, and fire keeps energy alive. A dark, shadowy kitchen weakens morale and invites neglect. A well-lit one radiates warmth, encouraging family to gather and share meals. If natural sunlight is scarce, add a warm lamp or occasionally light a small candle during dinner. Light tells your subconscious, there is energy here, there is life here, there is room for prosperity to stay. Pulling it together. These 6 items, rice with coins, salt, plants, water, spices, and light, may seem ordinary. But each represents a vital principle: sufficiency, purification, vitality, flow, richness, and clarity. Together, they form a constellation of reminders that abundance is not distant or mystical. It is cultivated through daily habits, visible symbols, and heartfelt gratitude. You don't need to clutter your kitchen with objects. Select a few that resonate most with you, place them thoughtfully, and tend to them regularly. The point is not the object itself, but the intention and consistency behind it. In Feng Shui, as in life, little things arranged with care can shift the entire field of energy. And when the heart of your home resonates with these quiet signals of prosperity, your whole household begins to move in rhythm with abundance. Daily habits and small rituals in the kitchen. A kitchen filled with symbolic items is a good start, but objects alone cannot carry the energy of prosperity. What truly breathes life into Feng Shui is how you use the space every single day. Just as money grows through consistent habits rather than one lucky break, your kitchen becomes a magnet for abundance when it is infused with daily rituals of care, gratitude, and clarity. End the day with cleanliness. The simplest and most powerful ritual is to never leave dirty dishes overnight. A pile of unwashed plates does more than attract pests, it signals unfinished business and stagnant energy. Psychologists say clutter weighs on the subconscious. In Feng Shui terms, it blocks qi. By washing up, wiping counters, and leaving the kitchen neat before bedtime, you invite fresh energy for the next day. This small discipline tells your mind, I end cycles properly, and I am ready for new opportunities. A morning gratitude ritual. Begin each morning with a brief pause in front of your rice jar, water pitcher, or even the stove. Place your hand on one of these objects and say softly, thank you for nourishing me. May today bring clarity, stability, and abundance. Gratitude transforms ordinary routines into spiritual practice. Over time, it reshapes how you see your finances, not as a constant battle, but as a flow supported by many invisible conditions. Scent as an energy activator. Smell is the quickest pathway to memory and mood. A drop of cinnamon, orange, or lemongrass essential oil diffused in the morning can lift the entire atmosphere of your kitchen. These scents are traditionally linked with prosperity and joy. Beyond symbolism, the fragrance creates a positive anchor. Every time you breathe it in, your brain links the kitchen with abundance and freshness, training you to make clearer, calmer choices. Spoken affirmations. Words carry energy. A short, intentional phrase repeated daily can redirect thought patterns. In the kitchen, choose a line that resonates with you. This kitchen is the heart of my abundance. I cook with gratitude, and prosperity grows in my home. Money flows easily when I act with wisdom. Say it aloud as you boil water or chop vegetables. It may feel simple, but affirmations work as micro-programming for the subconscious. Each word is a seed. Repeat them enough, and you harvest new beliefs. Family meals as wealth rituals. In many Buddhist and cultural traditions, wealth is not measured by coins alone but by connection. A family that eats together regularly multiplies abundance through shared energy. Try to set aside one meal a week where everyone gathers in the kitchen or dining space. No phones, no rushing. Light a candle, express thanks for the food, and enjoy the company. These moments reinforce trust, stability, and joy, which are the true soil in which prosperity grows. Small acts of care. Finally, treat your kitchen as a living space, not just a workstation. Replace sponges before they sour, polish metal tools, refresh the salt or rice jar when they feel stagnant. Each act is symbolic. By caring for the objects that sustain you, you remind yourself that wealth requires maintenance. Just as savings accounts grow when checked regularly, kitchen energy thrives under consistent attention. Closing thought. These habits may seem ordinary, but their cumulative effect is profound. Cleanliness ends cycles of stagnation. Gratitude shifts perception from scarcity to sufficiency. Scents, affirmations, and shared meals build an emotional atmosphere where abundance feels natural. Small actions, repeated daily, transform your kitchen into more than a cooking space. It becomes a training ground for prosperity. Real-life stories. Symbols and rituals come alive when we see them reflected in real human experience. Two stories show how simple adjustments in the kitchen can ripple outward into surprising financial and emotional change. Story 1, The Freelancer and the Forgotten Stove. Maya, a graphic designer working from home, confessed that she rarely cooked. Her kitchen had become a storage space for takeout containers and unused utensils. She often felt her income was unstable, projects came in bursts, then silence. After hearing about the rice jar ritual, she decided to try, but more importantly, she began a new habit, cooking at least one simple meal a day. She cleaned her stove, placed a small glass jar of rice and coins on a tidy shelf, and lit a warm lamp above the counter. Within a few weeks, she noticed something shift, not magically in her bank account, but in her attitude. She started sending invoices on time, managing her schedule better, and even saying no to low-paying jobs. The kitchen, once neglected, became her anchor. She later said, "It wasn't the jar that brought clients, it was the way it reminded me to act like someone who deserved stability." Story 2, A Couple Who Reclaimed Their Kitchen. John and Priya owned a small cafe. At home, their kitchen was always chaotic, sink full, groceries half spoiled, and constant arguments about bills. They felt drained, both financially and emotionally. Following Feng Shui advice, they reorganized the space. They moved the stove slightly away from the sink, introduced a pot of basil by the window, and kept a jar of sea salt near the cooking area. Each night, they committed to leaving the kitchen clean before bed. The impact was not dramatic overnight, but gradual and steady. The couple began eating more meals together, talking calmly instead of quarreling. That clarity spilled into their business. They identified waste, adjusted their menu, and launched a special of the day board that quickly attracted customers. Within months, their cafe profits stabilized. Priya laughed, saying, "It's funny, fixing our home kitchen helped us fix our work kitchen too." Reflection. These stories remind us that Feng Shui is less about mystical promises and more about creating environments that shape behavior. A clean, balanced kitchen became the mirror for new habits, discipline, clarity, and connection. And when habits change, prosperity naturally follows. The science and psychology behind kitchen Feng Shui. It is tempting to view Feng Shui as purely symbolic, but modern psychology shows us why these practices often feel so powerful. The kitchen, used multiple times each day, is the perfect stage for what scientists call environmental priming. Small, repeated cues in our surroundings shape how we think, feel, and act, often without us noticing. One principle at work is the anchoring effect. When you see a jar of rice and coins each morning, your brain connects that image with sufficiency and stability. Over time, the symbol becomes a mental anchor, reminding you to act in ways that support prosperity, sending invoices, cooking at home instead of overspending, or pausing before impulsive purchases. The anchor doesn't create money out of thin air, but it helps you align daily behavior with financial clarity. Another mechanism is priming. Scents of cinnamon or fresh basil, a tidy counter, or a lit candle all prime the mind for warmth and abundance. These sensory cues shift your mood, and mood influences decision-making. Studies show that when people feel calm and positive, they make wiser long-term financial choices. A fragrant, bright kitchen isn't just pleasant, it primes you to act with patience rather than panic. Finally, there is the role of family cohesion. Shared meals, gratitude rituals, and keeping the kitchen in harmony reinforce bonds of trust. Research consistently finds that households who eat together regularly have stronger financial stability. Why? Because connection reduces stress, encourages open communication, and helps families set common goals. In Buddhist language, this is interdependence at work. The health of relationships shapes the health of wealth. When we combine these insights, Feng Shui no longer appears mystical. It is a practical design of environment and habit. By anchoring your mind with symbols, priming your senses with positive cues, and reinforcing connection through shared rituals, your kitchen becomes a training ground for prosperity. The science confirms what ancient wisdom has always known: change the conditions, and the outcomes will follow. Lessons and conclusion. When we step back and reflect, the kitchen is far more than a place where meals are prepared. It is a living mirror of how we relate to abundance itself. A cluttered, dim kitchen echoes scarcity, unfinished tasks, wasted energy, and financial anxiety. A bright, clean, and balanced kitchen reflects sufficiency, clarity in thought, stability in family bonds, and a readiness to welcome prosperity. The lesson is simple but profound. Wealth does not begin with sudden windfalls or secret formulas. It begins with how we handle the ordinary. Washing dishes before bed, keeping a jar of rice and coins, lighting a warm lamp, or tending a small plant, these practices anchor our minds in gratitude and discipline. Over time, they shape the habits that create stability. In Buddhist thought, this is right mindfulness in action, awareness applied to daily life, transforming small choices into great outcomes. The science supports it, too. Anchors, sensory cues, and family rituals all reprogram the subconscious. Instead of chasing wealth with fear, we create an environment where prosperity naturally feels possible. It is not superstition. It is a gentle rewiring of both space and mind, reminding us that abundance flows when we live with clarity and care. So let your kitchen become the heart of prosperity. Brighten it, clean it, balance its elements, and infuse it with gratitude. In doing so, you will discover that wealth is not only about the money in your account. It is about the peace in your meals, the joy in your family, and the confidence that you already hold enough to grow. Before you leave, share one affirmation in the comments. My kitchen radiates abundance, and I live in prosperity with gratitude. And if you found this message meaningful, remember to like this video, subscribe to Wisdom of the Dharma, and share it with someone who deserves to live with both peace and prosperity. When good energy is shared, blessings multiply,